For going on a year now, I have talked about the investigation put on by Jim Jordan and James Comer, the fake investigation that went nowhere. And I called it over a year ago, seemingly, seems like right around a year, maybe longer, that this isn't going to go anywhere, that as soon as the election is over and Donald Trump is defeated, and the investigation is going to go in. It's going to garner no legislative action. There's not going to be any criminal complaint forwarded or recommended to the Justice Department. It's just going to kind of evaporate into the ether. And that's exactly what happened. Today may be a theme across videos of me tooting my own horn. And this is certainly one of those items. And it's not like I'm alone, that I have some special secret understanding of how Republicans operate. Everybody knows that it's all just chaos. It's all just distraction so the American people can focus on this rather than the thing that's important. Rather than legislation and policy that will make their lives better, Republicans want to throw as much bullshit against the wall to let Fox News and Newsmax and OAN and the New York Post and the Wall Street Journal and now regular corporate media, mainstream media, do the job, the heavy lifting for them. And right now there's an investigation that's not really going to go anywhere for the fact that there's not a majority of Democrats in the House of Representatives and Democrats don't have subpoena power. They can't compel testimony. You can't compel documents. But there's an investigation that is maybe on the horizon that I want to see finished. I want to see brought to fruition. I want to see consequence for people if it's found indeed to be true that Donald Trump took $10 million from the president of Egypt, because the timeline, as the kids are saying, is pretty sus. Here's the headline from the Washington Post. House Democrats ask Trump if he illegally accepted $10 million from Egypt. A recent Washington Post article detailed a now closed Justice Department investigation spurred by intelligence from 2016 indicating that the Egyptian president sought to give Donald Trump money. Democratic leaders on the House Oversight Committee released a letter Tuesday asking former President Donald Trump if he ever illegally received money from the government of Egypt and whether money from Cairo played a role in a $10 million infusion into his 2016 run for president. Which is curious. You'd think MAGA world would think that's a little odd because remember Donald Trump, I'm very rich. I'm going to self-finance my campaign. I don't need anybody else's money. I'm completely outside of the bounds of influence. Remember that? I'm funding my own campaign until he wasn't, paid all that money back to himself, and then started begging for money. Representative Jamie Raskin of Maryland, the ranking Democrat on the committee, and Representative Robert Garcia of California, the top Democrat on its subcommittee for national security, the border, and foreign affairs, wrote to Trump that they were making the request as a result of the Washington Post article published last month. The article revealed details of a secret Justice Department investigation during Trump's presidency into whether he took an illegal campaign contribution from Egypt. As members of the House minority, Raskin and Garcia do not have the power to subpoena documents or witnesses, and Trump is under no obligation to respond to their inquiries. But the Democrats said the public deserves answers now that Trump is running for president again. And you see, when Democrats investigate things, there is an actual legislative objective, or they look to right a wrong or forward contempt charges or criminal charges onto the Justice Department, as with what you witnessed with the January 6th Select Committee investigating the insurrection, investigating Donald Trump's attempt to overturn democracy in America by overturning a free and fair election. Quote, surely you would agree that the American people deserve to know whether a former president and current candidate for president took an illegal campaign contribution from a brutal dictator, the letter signed by the two Democrats reads. Quote, accordingly, we request that you immediately provide the committee with information and documents necessary to assure the committee and the American public that you never, directly or indirectly, politically or personally, received any fund from the Egyptian president or government. Now, as you would expect, when asked for comment, I'll let you guess. What are the two words that always come up when Donald Trump is accused of something until it's found to be true? And then, oh, wait, well, I guess spoiler alert, it's fake news. That's what they say. Oh, no, this is fake news. And then it's found to be true. There's no way to wiggle out of it. And then it's like, yeah, well, it's not fake news, but it doesn't matter. It's not important. That's what's happening right now. Asked for comment, the Trump campaign called reporting about Trump in Egypt textbook fake news. The Justice Department investigation found no wrongdoing and was closed, spokesman Stephen Chung said, repeating a statement he gave for the Post story last month. None of the allegations or insinuations being reported have any basis in fact. How many times, how many stories have been addressed with that particular talking point? This is fake news. This is a hoax. Donald Trump, the fake elector scheme before it was outed as absolutely fact, was fake news. It was a hoax. It was lying Democrats, proven to be true. Donald Trump's emoluments clause violations, that's not fake news. That was brought before the Supreme Court, which they didn't take up because they said, well, he's not president anymore. I guess the matter is moot. That doesn't mean he didn't violate the emoluments clause. He without doubt violated the emoluments clause, which states he can't take any payments from foreign governments while president. It doesn't mean, well, if he's a businessman, there are these carve-outs. He's a businessman, so there are these exceptions. No payment from a foreign government can be taken while president of the United States, even if you're a businessman. And the Supreme Court ruled, well, he's not president anymore. So it doesn't matter. His Supreme Court. The Post article reported that the investigation began in early 2017 in response to U.S. intelligence indicating that the Egyptian president al-Sisi had sought to send Trump $10 million. In May of that year, special counsel Robert Mueller, who had been appointed to investigate Russian interference in the 2016 election, agreed to take the lead on the Egypt investigation. In early 2019, as Mueller was preparing to deliver his report on Russian investigation and close his office, his team obtained records from Egyptian banking officials. The records revealed a cash withdrawal of nearly $10 million, an amount almost identical to what the intelligence indicated, from an account tied to the Egyptian General Intelligence Service, the Post reported. The withdrawal occurred in January 17, 5 days before Trump took office. Now, you don't have to be an investigative reporter to connect the dots here. You don't have to be a historian with a photographic memory to know the track record of Donald Trump inviting interference and violating our election laws and our Constitution with the emoluments clause. All of these things are part and parcel. They are standard operating procedure for Donald Trump and his acolytes and the people who surround him. So to just cry fake news doesn't fly. It certainly doesn't pass the smell test. And I can tell you, this investigation needs to be sought through, needs to be seen through. It needs to be carried forward in a Democratic majority House where they will have subpoena power, where they will have teeth behind the requests that they make to compel the production of documents, to compel testimony of people surrounding this particular thing, because the American people deserve justice and Donald Trump deserves accountability for years of absolutely disregarding American law. And right now we're in a situation where the FEC is completely toothless because of the partisan nature of the way that the organization is made up. It's just gross. And Republicans, they want him to win, so at any cost, even if it's our democracy, they want him in office. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think about this. I am a giant fan of Jamie Raskin. I think that we would be well served to have a president, Jamie Raskin. Probably not in the cards. I don't know exactly how old he is, but if Kamala's going to be elected and take office in 2025, and she's going to be there for another 8 years, it kind of ages him out, probably. Anyway, what do you think? You can leave a comment below. That would be great. You can also call, leave me a voicemail, 576-4054. And of course, you can email me as always, daily@dollemore.com. Please consider helping support this work. Click the join button. Look what's involved to become a channel member for $2 a month. You can also go over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Follow me on the social media. I'm everywhere at Dollemore. I'd love to see you there. And I'll see you next time. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another.